It was the 2nd of July when I got my test. I thought I'd need nothing but a little bit of rest. I woke up coughing and began to wheeze. That was when I realised this would cause me more than just a sneeze. I was rushed into hospital, straight to resus and placed on the bed. My tears started rolling and fears filled my head. There were wires in my veins and wires on my heart. Begging them to help me, I knew this was only the start. They asked me who was my next of kin. I begged them not to give my mum a ring. I didn't want to scare her from 200 miles away. I didn't want her to be in pain, and it was safer that way. I was put on oxygen and a mask strapped to my face. It was then that I knew that surviving was a race. The nurse held my hand as the doctor tried to see. I looked him in the eye and I begged him to save me. I asked him not to let me die. Painkillers and drugs were making me feel high. As hours went on and I couldn't move an inch, being pulled around and prodded and feeling every little pinch. As I came back to normality, I thought that maybe it was over and wouldn't go on. Turns out I couldn't have been more wrong. Another asthma attack had decided to hit, and I felt myself go into a fear-ridden pit. As I was waiting and told I was going to a ward, I knew I'd survived and maybe I'd scored. I was taken to another place with machines attached to my bed, remembering all the words and the love my family had said. I thought it was the end, so I messaged my friend, telling them whatever happened, it had been a blast. It was like I was having a flashback of everything from the past. The next day I gave my mum a ring. I told her what had happened as my chest began to sting. For 6 days I was waiting to come off the meds. I was waking up at night with wheezing fear in my head. I tried to be strong but I felt so weak, and I tried to communicate but could barely speak. And every time I gave the nurse's bell a dig, it set into me the songs I'd never be able to sing. My life turned upside down when I was 22. I should be out drinking and even smoking too. After a week in the hospital I was allowed to leave, all the messages flooded in and the love I would receive. Although the worst was over, it only really just began to start. I was scared and angry and felt like I had a broken heart. I didn't go out and I played by the rules all year. Well, how did you catch it was all I began to hear. It was like it was my fault that I was so bad, like I'd asked to catch COVID when in reality I never had. And the long-term fears of recovery to come, I wanted to make something of myself, but now I can't run. I can't go on a walk without being in pain, and it seems like the only sign is coming with rain. I have a long way to go mentally and physically until I'm back to where I was 2 months ago. It will probably take a few months, even a year or so. I didn't ask to catch this, but now I have to pay the price. I guess it was just a dodgy roll of the dice. And now when I get a pain or a wheeze in my chest, I think back to when I took that test. And the fear comes back that I'll be as bad, or maybe I won't be as lucky as I once had. Sometimes I wish I could go back to the life I once lived inside, and I tried to be strong and I tried to hide. But I'm scared and I'm angry and I think, why me, when all my friends had it and you wouldn't be able to see. The pain I'm in, my life turned upside down, and they only see the smile but never the frown. And I don't want to cry because I'm scared I won't stop. And if I do start to cry, then my heart will just drop. I was lucky to survive because my granddad couldn't fight. He died in January after COVID took his right. COVID has taken a lot from me, but one thing is for sure, I'm stronger than I could ever see.